And so, welcome to awB Live, what is typically our monthly conversation where we explore the intersection of aging, race, and systemic change. Each month, we connect with thought leaders, change makers, and people at the center of aging in America to discuss opportunities in reimagining aging in Black communities. And so join with us as we elevate critical conversations, amplify strategies, and work collectively to build a future where Black elders thrive. But today is a special episode of awB Live. Uh, this is the Mother's Day edition, the Mother's Day episode of awB Live. You may recall last year we were able to pause, and I had the unbelievable joy of interviewing my mom. But this year we're going in a different direction. Our guest is Dr. Herb Caldwell, and we'll get into our conversation in just a moment. But just a bit about Dr. Caldwell. He is the Chief of Compliance and Engagement at Logan University. He oversees compliance, risk management, diversity, equity, and inclusion, that interesting landscape in 2025. He has a nearly 25-year career in higher education, including leadership roles at St. Louis University, McMurray College, and the University of Illinois. Uh, but for the purposes of this conversation, he is also the architect of Mama Joe, the Mama Joe Project, a multimedia and outreach initiative focused on aging and care for elders with Alzheimer's disease and other dementia. And so, Dr. Caldwell, welcome to awB Live.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here to have a conversation with you, and I just applauding you for the work that you're doing in this growing footprint is so needed and valuable. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you so very much. So we always start our conversations here, and even though this is a special episode, we still want to start here. How would you introduce yourself to the awB community in 25 words or less?
Ooh. Regardless of role, I've been put on the earth to help people transition more efficiently and effectively from point A to point B. So whether as a preacher, an educator, a musician, that's my job.
All right. So you were in really good shape at that point A to point B. If you'd put a period there, you would have nailed it. Uh, you still did an amazing job, and in all seriousness, um, even though I've talked with you on a number of occasions before this call, the succinct way in which you express that gives me an even deeper sense of knowing who you are, and so thank you. The second place that we start, Herb, is what does the concept aging while Black bring up for you?
So this is an amazing question that will have me thinking so much after this. But it's that part where our beings are so layered. And so you can't take our aging while Black outside of the context of our Blackness. And what does that mean emotionally, spiritually, economically, in terms of access to healthcare, right? So I think, like so many other facets of our life, there can be particular barriers there. But, sir, how can we be better informed so that we can have better access? And those are some of the thoughts that are raising to the surface, of our mind as I think about what it means. Because we've always been aging, right? From the time we've come to Earth, we've been aging. But now
Yeah,
we're thinking about it more strategically. How can we do this and do this well?
yeah, and I love the point that you began with, that we don't have the ability to disconnect our aging experience from our Blackness. Uh, one of the points I just finished a manuscript for the book, and when I talk to people, I share with them that the headline is aging in America is not a race neutral experience, and that is so much of what I heard you express.
And,
But
and
I go ahead,
no,
please.
and I think we shouldn't have to uh, feel shame or defensive because it's a fact.
Yeah,
The data bears it out, and so there's a lot of things that can be changed and altered. But sir, the tone of my skin and my historical and cultural context cannot, but
yeah,
systems can. Dissemination of information, that can. And I know we're in a certain climate that wants us to, not use certain words and hide that fact. Well, then you're asking me, sir, to turn into an actor. You're asking me to
yeah.
play a part and play a role.
Well, but um, when the leader of the civilized world believes that life is a reality show, I guess it's reasonable that there would be an expectation that we would all be actors. But I digress. I
Yes, sir.
digress. So this is our Mother's Day episode of awB Live, and you and I have these son experiences that are deeply rooted in our relationships with our moms. What is the Mama Joe Project?
So the Mama Joe Project, I call it an initiative. It's an initiative that's going to, raise awareness, and improve outcomes related to health and care, particularly for elders who may be experiencing Alzheimer's or other types of dementias. That's my own family experience. My mother was a person living with, Alzheimer's disease. And when I tell you it's something we never thought could happen, my mom didn't seem to meet what was in our mind as risk factors for having any type of chronic illness, right? I'm not sure I ever saw my mother eat a double cheeseburger. So a clean eater, active with her reading, exercise, walking, and all these sorts of things. So just never saw my mother, who would be someone who would be ill. And so this project is about destigmatizing what that looks like, for us. And I'm so glad to be able to do this in relation to Mother's Day because the data is clear that 2/3 of folks who are diagnosed with dementia are women, and blacks are actually, I quote conservatively, twice as likely, but it's even more than that, right? To have some type of cognitive decline or dementia as compared to others. And so, while in my mind, I never thought my mother would be in this position, age is the leading risk factor. So as a 60-year-old plus black woman, she was the triple threat, for risk. And so what we've done with the Mama Joe Project is use the creative platforms, film, shorts, podcasts, radio, to use my mother's story kind of as illustration to talk about these issues that impact our community disparately, right? The burden of caregiving, um, dementia, cognitive decline, and what that looks like so that we can be better connected to information and resources.
And thank you for that. You talked about your mom, 60 woman, black. Um, those who have explored the intersection of aging and race long before aging while black, some of the preeminent black scholars have described that as triple jeopardy.
Triple jeopardy. I
Uh,
got to start using that one. That's right.
yeah, the triple jeopardy of being black, female, and aging in America. And so I love, Herb, as you described what felt like this intersection between your personal experiences and then the broader challenges that families and caregivers in black communities face. Can you say just a bit more about how you see your personal story, your mom's experiences, your family's experiences, reflecting this broader set of challenges that Black folks, Black families face as it relates to Alzheimer's and dementia?
Sir, so core to what we do is a documentary film. It's called My Mama Joe, Hope and Help. It's streaming nationwide on the PBS platforms. And what we've done is we've used my mom and our family story as illustration. So we've put in a face to it. We've put in not actors like we talked before, right? But real
Right.
experience with the cameras, showing what it's like for this, I mean, just regal of a woman who devoted her life to community service, right? Go through this experience and both the highs and the lows of navigating, that we've been blessed to be able to bring in scholars and practitioners from all throughout the country who are peppering the narrative with the guidance, right? So that we're connected to the empirical data and latest developments. So you'll have folks from the CDC who appears in the film. We have epidemiologists who appear in the film. We have folks who are working in insurance and teaching us how to use our Medicare and Medicaid, benefits, in the film. Now I love that, but I just consider that a tool. And so, in my heart, my passion is when we get into them streets, right? Get into the community. We call these community engagement forums. It's a 2-hour event, usually in a movie theater, and we show the film, which is right in an hour, and then we have 45 minutes of post-film conversation with experts in brain health. Dementia navigation, nutrition, sometimes attorneys to help us with understanding estates and wills, this sort of thing. And so we bring it right into your house, if you will. It no longer becomes about my family story, but we bring these issues to the service. And let's talk about how this works to help and support you or to help lower your risk or for your cousin or for your aunt or for
Mhm.
your neighbor. Uh, One thing we know is that sometimes our community don't like having certain conversations, but that doesn't mean we're not impacted by certain situations. And so
Right.
we put our family and our mother, I mean, it's a place of vulnerability. But again, I told you, sir, I believe I was placed on the earth to help people transition from point A to point B. So by using this film, doing this outreach where we're seeing 80 to 300 people in a movie theater and them walking out more informed, them walking out with tangible resources in their hands so they can better take care of their loved ones, that's what it's all about. And if I can say, is that not the universal power of a mother? Always making someone better, literally giving life. And so for me, it's been a blessing to even be a part of this.
So thank you for that. So even in describing the people who are part of who pop up and do these important cameo contributions in the video in the movie, but also the litany of interchanging professionals who may be present for the conversations after people touch the movie. You and your family, first and foremost, who have been made very, who have made yourselves very vulnerable and open in this situation. But the team that supports you and the people who help bring it together, you do it in a way that highlights the emotional, the physical, and the financial toll that's associated with this, not only for the person, but for the caregivers. And you talked about people leaving the experience more informed. What other kind of changes do you hope to inspire in how the broader society recognizes the realities associated with caregiving and family members with dementia and supporting them? What do you hope is made different as a result of this important initiative?
I think our own agency. For so long, we've looked predominantly outside for answers. But once armed with certain types of information, We don't have to wait for someone to ask us for a particular thing. We can ask for ourselves. And if I could tell you, we just had one of these events this past weekend. We showed the film, an amazing a discussion of panelists. And I happened to be outside the table because the amazing thing is during these times, people stay, sir, we dismissed. No, we never dismiss late. It's a 2 hour event. We never dismiss late. But people stay 30, 40, an hour after because they're just bonding and having community. And as I happened to be at the registration table, a woman who was watching the film walks out to one of the information booths that we have at the table that has our local Alzheimer disease research center. And she walks up to them and she says, I think I need help.
Mm.
Now, mind you, sir, her family's been noticing signs for the past months, odd years, and had been in denial. She saw the film, heard the conversation, took an action for herself, didn't have to be invited, had information, had a connection, and took information and action herself to level up her own health. That's what it's about when people can take an action. And sometimes we haven't been able to do that because we haven't been given access to certain information and certain resources. So don't tell me we don't want to participate in research. We will do it if we're properly informed and there's transparency involved. And our data since October, we've seen nearly 2,000 people now at these outreach events. It's bearing out exactly that.
So I absolutely thank you for that powerful illustration of what engagement looks like, and you talk about these engagement forums as a critical part of the work. I also just want to double click, to double tap on that word agency, and the reality of the agency of our families and our communities. One of the things that we say frequently, Dr. Caldwell, with Aging While Black, is that the resources that are necessary to transform Black aging in America can't be imported. That that they reside within our communities to begin, and that identifying, nurturing them, and elevating the voices of Black elders and Black families uh, in creating the world that we want to live in is a critical and important step in bringing about real change here. So, what is your vision for expanding the reach as the aging population grows? And I thank you for noting that twice as likely is a conservative number, because we are significantly at greater risk than other communities. So how do you see this expanding? You got a magic wand,
Well,
wave it.
it starts with partnership, right? So you and I are having a conversation today because someone who touches us both said we got to meet, and they physically walked me over to where you were to make sure we had that type of connections, understanding and seeing them. See, sometimes we do this work in silos, but I say frequently that I can play several instruments. Grew up in church playing instruments, right? It's been part of my livelihood, but I can only play one instrument at a time. I much rather play with a band. I played basketball through college. It paid for my undergraduate experience. It wasn't very good, but it paid the bills, right? Um, Sir, I never learned how to dribble very well. I come from that generation where big guys were running the post. We rebounded, right? I needed someone to pass me the ball or somebody to miss the shot so I could grab that. That allowed my effectiveness to come through. So I need a team, right? So the Mama Joe Project can't do what we do in a silo. So having an expanded of like-minded folks who are connected. So whenever I go to a city, I think we'll be in Cleveland next week, and then 10 days later we'll be in Montgomery, Alabama, then we'll be back in St. Louis before hitting Jackson, Mississippi. Well, I can I'm relegated to what I can touch. But when I have a connection to, Dr. Jetson and aging while black. We've expanded we can touch more together. We can help more together. And I want to be clear about something. While this project has been, and people will say, hey man, it's a wonderful tribute to your mother. I started this project. I could not even define for you dementia from Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not some big dementia expert. I started because I got what I call a divine tap. So I'm on a mission. And because I'm on a mission, we have to figure out ways to pool our resources together so that others in the end benefit. And that's what I think conversations, collaboration that we're going to be doing with awB, right? Because I just know the end result, the end game is more folks can be helped and won't be like my family was. Taking care of our mother. When I say literally no resources, sir, no information, no support. We don't want others ever have feeling like they have to do this. You ask someone to build a house and you don't even give them a hammer. So we're bringing these tools,
Yeah.
organizations like your own, mine, we're bringing tools to bear so that folks get the help they need.
So a few things leap out at me in your comments. First of all, I want to respectfully and in love push back a bit on the notion that you didn't have any resources.
Okay.
You didn't have a certain set of resources. You didn't have some awareness and knowledge and access to helpful actors that would have been of greater benefit to you. But you had a family and the love and care and concern that had doubtlessly been shaped to a great degree by your mom, that allowed you guys to do the very best that you could in that moment. And while it may not have been aligned with some of the evidence-based approaches, etc., it was dripping with Black love, and that's always a good thing.
Now pause.
Uh,
Pause here.
yeah,
Now, awB live audience, this is why you need teammates. This is why you
yeah,
need bandmates so they can smack you every once in a while. Say, brother, you just played the wrong chord. You just took a bad shot. I received that 100%, sir, because you are absolutely correct. Because all the resources without the love and without the family support, it would have been nothing.
yeah,
So I received
yeah.
what you said, sir. Thank you.
And the other thing that you're very welcome and thank you. The other thing that I want to highlight is we have to be out there, visible, and accessible to these connections in order that your divine tap might connect with my divine tap, might tap into somebody else's. Because the important thing to note is, I mean, you're in St. Louis, I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We shook hands in Atlanta, Georgia. you know, and before we started recording here, this episode together, I was talking about Orlando and New York and Boston, and you just, Jackson, Cleveland, and so, and we also talked before we started. The only people who think traveling is glamorous are people who don't travel. Uh, and so this is work,
Yeah.
but it's when we are out there
Yes.
that these connections happen, and so I am thankful that we were connected, and I look forward to what happens as a result. And so, this is a Mother's Day special episode. And so, what thoughts would you share with those observing this day in the context of dementia, your family's experience? What would you say, Herb?
So a couple of things. If you're in a position where you may have a loved one, a mothering type who is experiencing, living through some type of cognitive impairment, dementia, even Alzheimer's, Don't forget, I don't care if they have forgotten, if their behavior has changed, that's still your mother. Love them as such. Respect them as such. It's been just about a year since ours has transitioned, on. Well, those last six years, she wasn't even able to call my name, and I'm her oldest son, right? But it was still my mother, and these flashes of her brilliance would jump out, here and there. So that's the number one thing. Treasure, regardless of what the relationship may have been. If you're alive on this earth, take it from day one and walk forward. The second thing is pay attention. And if your loved one, your mothers, are showing particular signs, um, have the tough conversation. Be involved because we're starting to live longer, right? But we don't want to live longer and be sick. So let's pay attention to signs, be informed, and then take actions to make sure that our quality of life is as good as it can be. We have that interconnectedness, and so we all need to play our role in part.
Thank you. So I want to close this conversation um, as I do with all of the folks who make the time to be in community and to be in this space with me uh, by articulating that aging while Black seeks to be a catalyst for movement building around these three pillars: recalibrating the village, embracing innovation and rapid change, and leaning into Sankofa. What would be your best hope for this movement?
Change that is measurable and that we can articulate. So these numbers that we talked about early, me
Mm,
conservatively, let's that will be the fruits of our actions. Seeing those numbers change where we're not more than twice as likely, where we are represented in research, where we are living our best lives as we age while Black, but with a great quality of life. That's what I'm looking forward to. All these efforts and folks like you are doing, Dr. Farron Epps, and so many others that are doing that. That's the change we want to see.
well, Dr. Herb Caldwell, thank you for uh, being willing to invite so many folks uh, into your lived experience, into your family's experience, and giving us just a glimpse of the amazing human being that your mom has been in this world, uh, the impact she continues to have in shaping and transforming the lives of others. I am grateful for your time. I'm grateful to be in community with you and to begin this journey together. Every encounter has purpose. The challenge we have is being discerning enough to understand them. And so I look forward to unpacking the purpose in our being connected with you. And thank you for your time, brother.
Well, thank you so much, sir, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are out there. Appreciate you all.
Thank you. And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us for this important conversation on reimagining aging in Black communities. The work doesn't stop here. Let's continue to challenge systems, elevate solutions, and ensure that Black elders are seen, valued, and supported. I ask you again if you would be sure to subscribe, share, and find this conversation and more, the Aging While Black YouTube channel. Connect with us at agingwhileblack.co.co to stay engaged and be a part of this movement. And so until next time, take care and keep the conversations going. Thanks and God bless.